Welcome to another episode of Unbiased Sports Talk. Okay, this is the basketball edition, talking strictly basketball. First up to the plate, James Harden. Since his arrival, they have been 2-6. We try to do it. We try to do an episode when they were 0-6. So I guess let's break it down in two parts. What was your thoughts when they were 0-6? And what's your thoughts now they are 2-6?
Well, my thoughts overall, I don't think really have changed from what I thought about Harden in this trade to begin with. I will be fair to say that, I haven't seen all of the game tape, so I can't speak about every single game and get into details of what he's doing or not doing on the court. But Harden, especially in some of those 0-6 games, again, has the tendency to want to get in his rhythm, get in his bag, dribble the ball, because that's typically where he's been comfortable. And on this team, they're going to need him to do more spotting up, shooting the ball off the catch. So again, all basketball players know how to do this. They all do it in practice. But like you said, when you get into the game, can he do that? Can he adapt and be what they need for this Clippers team? If he can, and they continue to make some improvements, they can be a solid team. You got 4 all-stars. Most people will argue that they were all superstars at some point in their career. So you got talent. Talent usually wins games. Now, will they beat a team that has chemistry and time together like the Nuggets? I don't think so. Even if they do gel and get it together this year, I still think the Nuggets are going to be better, especially with the size. So again, I don't really have anything specific about each individual game they played so far. I think we need a little bit more time to really see what they will end up being ultimately. But like I said before in the other video, I don't look at it as a good move to get Harden. I would have rather gone after some other pieces. I'm not sure this will work in the long term. But hey, they throwing everything they got at it, see what they can do with this team in this last stretch, this last run. But I don't know. What's your thoughts so far on Harden, what you've seen?
So I did watch the games because of Brody.
Yeah.
Where they were 0-6.
What you see?
I saw what I saw with LA, with Russell and LeBron. One of y'all is going to have to move off ball. And I know one is more willing than the other, but still the pace that James plays, he puts people in position like, what are you going to do, guy? Because of the amount of dribbling he does in one spot. So you're sitting there wondering, okay, is he going to dribble to shoot, or is he going to dribble to create? And he leaves you pondering. So the first 0-6, I saw no ball movement from all the guys. I saw no real defense. Some of it was on James Harden too. Like I was watching some of his defense. I was like, that's just call like it is. That was ass.
Has he ever been known for defense though?
Yeah, I'm just still. It was just like you're joining a team that I thought was already good on ball defenders, and then now when you put somebody on the floor, because all it takes is one guy to just make your defense just go skyrocket down.
Yep.
So then the next thing I started to see, and this is more so of a Tyronn Lue thing, was like managing people's minutes. And I'm just like, I was going to have another topic, but I was like, I'll save it for when the boys get on. I'd like the people's comments to be down there. The question is for everybody is, give me your example of a good coach and a great coach. Leave that in the comments, everybody, because that was something I really started paying attention to when it comes to basketball these past couple years. Because again, when I watch the NBA during the season, I
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of professional pickup. I don't really
Yeah.
see any real type of coaching, except for some for the few. Anyways, pushing forward, that's what I saw. 0-6. Now that they're 2-6, it's hard to really give a real evaluation because you played Houston, you played the Spurs. Um, I do see that now that with Russ wanting to come off the bench, I do see there's a little bit different energy coming from the second group. And with the added piece of help me out with the guy's name. I think it's Daniel Tisis or Daniel Thesis. Daniel Tisis, something
The
like that. He used to play
what
for the
was it?
Boston. He used to play for the
Power.
Boston
Oh, it's
Celtics.
center, power forward.
Yeah, power forward. He used to play
Yeah, yeah,
shoot threes. That was a
mm,
real good. That was a real good addition
yeah.
until Mason Plumlee comes back because going back to they were 0-6 and they played Denver. I did not understand how Tyron did not play Zubox for the last 4 minutes of the game against Joker. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, great. But anyways, I'm like you. I want to wait and see until they play like a marquee game where
Mm-hmm.
I get to really evaluate them. Like I like to see them against the Kings. I like to see them against the Pelicans.
Right.
Um, Boston, of course. Bucks,
Nuggets.
of course. Nuggets. I want to see it against them teams and stuff
Hell,
because
Warriors.
Warriors. Because what's going to fall down to is, and we've talked about this so many times. When you're in a tight game with those guys, who's going to be the player the last 3 minutes of the game?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
with you having guys like Paul George, guys like Kawhi, guys like James Harden, even guys like Russell, somebody's going to feel inclined to say, I'm going to take over. So whose ego is going to be pushed to the side to let the person take over? Because Russell's already made the big change of, saying, hey, I'm going to come off the bench. Now it's like, all right, okay. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting. And
I,
what doesn't help too? My bad. It doesn't help. Look at the Sixers now without James Harden.
I was gonna get to that. I ain't want to hit that yet, but that was gonna be what I was gonna speak on next.
Okay, well, you take over.
But and so to follow up with Harden and ultimately to better explain why I wasn't a fan of the trade for Harden, and it goes to what you're talking about with 76ers. You see how well they're playing now with the subtraction, really, because they really didn't add nothing. They've subtracted him out of the equation. And now you see better flow to their offense. And that goes to my point with Harden. Like you were saying, the offense gets stagnant. Defense isn't as good, obviously. But the offense gets very stagnant and the ball doesn't move, sits in people's hands, goes one-on-one. You see the Sixers now playing more like, honestly, Denver Nuggets with the high pick and roll, with Embiid giving him the ball spot up at the top of the key, handoffs and all that type of jazz. And they're flowing and they're moving. Clippers, again, I haven't watched all the game tape, but they probably don't have an offense that's as moving as flowing, similar to the Nuggets. Hell, even the Warriors. Again, Warriors have always had a nice flow to their offense. So those are the type of offenses that I historically have not seen Harden be a part of. And I think that goes to Kobe's point about saying you ain't gonna win the chip playing the way he does. It's very easy to guard that and stop that in the playoffs against good defenses. Mm-hmm. So again, I saw the stats of the last game. They obviously playing a young team in San Antonio, but him giving you somewhere in the teens, like 15 points and 10 assists, I think if he's able to do that consistently and efficiently, they can possibly win it and exceed with him playing that way. If they try to go where he's the man and he's controlling the ball the whole time, it's probably not going to work out well for them, similar to how it worked out in 76ers. They'll win, they get to the playoffs, but then they get in the playoffs and it's going to fail.
All right, let's move up. Let's move to the team upstairs with the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, what they call this man, Anthony Davis? He got so many nicknames. The dude, what's his name, Bubba? He said he called him
Bubba.
always down.
Humpty Dumpty.
Barkley calls him street clothes.
Yep.
What Stephen A calls him a roller coaster.
Yep. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get.
So you're seeing, okay, this is the question, everybody, not just for E. This is a question for everybody. You're seeing that there's no real change when it comes to Anthony Davis. Should the Lakers go on and make a move from him now? Let me start this off first.
Go ahead.
You know, he's kind of remind me of not necessarily from a point standpoint, but from a person standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of reminding me of Ben Simmons. Who wants that on their team? Meaning this.
Yeah, hold. Be some. Yeah, explain that. Because
I mean, like, okay, like
I don't know if I'll go that far. I want to hear this.
Okay, let me explain. I could be wrong. Well, listen, just follow me what I'm saying, right? If you haven't followed Ben Simmons, right, you felt like he was kind of leading you up and down. As far as his potential and stuff, he has glimpses of really doing something, and then the next time you watch him, he's like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Ben Simmons, because let's not act like we did not see glimpses of an all-star of Ben Simmons when he was at the 76ers. And then with that whole thing with the Sixers, and it carried on to the Nets just a little bit, right? Even though he's kind of MIA right now. You're still on the fence about, like, if he was mentally there. I kind of feel like that with Anthony Davis, where I was having this debate about Embiid, and then it kind of just switched over to Anthony Davis. I don't think Anthony Davis is tough enough. That's why he is what he is. I think he's soft-minded. That's why I bring up Ben Simmons. I mean, now granted, I'm not calling Ben Simmons soft-minded, but I can see why people are saying he's kind of up and down, based on his play. And sometimes based on your play, that is sometimes who you are as a person. Sometimes it's not a fact. It's just an assumption. It's just my opinion. Because you know how I know, E. There's some guys that you have watched where you were looking at them. Well, man, we talked about James. Forget it, James Harden, right? Let's go back to James Harden, right?
Right.
The man said he's not a system player, buddy. We've been watching you for years. You're doing the same thing. So this is not.
He was right in his comment because you can't play in the system.
Yeah,
you're right.
But now when you're saying those things and people are watching your game, now I'm kind of looking at you as a person. Forget the basketball. I'm looking at you as a person. As a person, who are you fooling? Now going to Anthony Davis, there's nothing to fool about this. The man is soft. The man is soft. This man, with the type of talent he has, there's no reason why he should not be dropping 20 a night. The measurables he has, the skills he has.
He's averaging 20. I mean, his career average is like mid-20s. I mean, so he's averaging 20. I'll say this. I get what you're saying. I think my issue with Anthony and why I would entertain a trade if I were the Lakers is because of what we were talking about earlier, the inconsistency, not of only his play, but obviously his ability to stay healthy. That's really my issue with him, because ultimately, defensively, he's a stud. He's great on defense. His ability to switch, his ability to block when he's engaged, he's a top tier defender, and I would love to have him on my team. The issue, again, is his availability. I can't consistently rely on him to show up when I need him most. So I guess the Lakers mindset is, all right, let's see what we can get this last time around. I don't see them trading him. I think, again, if you're going to get any value out of him, now's the time. Um,
Who you going to trade him to? Utah?
but that was my next point though. Who's going to trade? What can you trade from? Because I don't know if anybody is willing to give up anything significant on their teams. Like, because I know the Lakers, they would want something like, they would probably do something like OKC, check. Right? Him and some other players and some picks for AD. And OKC's gonna be like, yeah, no, this is our young stud. We want to keep him, right? But that's the type of crap the Lakers gonna want for AD because that's how they value AD, right? So I don't think anybody's gonna match up with them on value, and therefore they're not gonna get what they want if they were to try to trade AD. So again, the other teams, why would you, especially if you have a legit star, like for example, Timberwolves, like Karl Anthony Towns for AD. That might be something that's actually could be a legit trade, but would the Timberwolves actually want to do it? Do they feel they're getting better value with AD? They might want something in return with AD. And the Lakers are thinking like, no, you should be giving us picks for Karl and picks for AD. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if anybody's going to really line up with them to even want to do a trade like that because they're going to be questioning his health.
If I'm another team, depending on where I'm at, I don't want him. And truth be told, from the little bit I've seen from him, he's not going to play there anyways. He's going to find a reason not to play. Because if you think about it from his career standpoint now, any move he makes now that no NBA player wants to do at their stage, he's going to be going backwards, not forward.
Right. He's he's going downhill now from here. Yeah, like he's not going into his prime or anything like. So that's what I say. It doesn't make sense to anybody who has legit value or legit player that you could do a trade for one-on-one or one a player plus picks or whatever. I don't know who will be willing to make that trade. And if they do, you're stupid. Because I wouldn't do it. That's just me personally.
I don't want him. I don't want no dude where, like what my man Bubba said, you make Sabonis look like Joker.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers is his best option because one, like you said, with his whole reason he got there to begin with, his agent, Rich Paul. So this is your boys, this is your situation. You set this up, you got him the money, you got him out of New Orleans and all that. So that ain't happening twice. You got him to the best situation he can be in. You ain't about to get him out of this. So I mean, and if the Lakers did trade him, yeah, he ain't gonna have no options. That's it. It's over.
Can I ask you a quick question? I wish the other guys were on now because this could ruffle some feathers here. It's a part of this LeBron.
I mean, if he's part of the reason why he's there, obviously with his age and all that, I don't know how these guys. What do you mean? What are you getting
at? I'm talking about in a sense of holding him accountable, of playing better.
Oh, so you talking about like, yeah, I mean, LeBron's put that pressure on him. He said like he's been trying to pass it over to him like, hey, this is your squad, step up, be the guy, But again, I think you're right. AD ain't built like that. Like some guys just aren't built to carry things like.
I don't think LeBron built like that either.
I know I ain't gonna go there. LeBron is built to carry a franchise. Like he's done it. I can't say that now. Like, LeBron has carried a franchise. I'm gonna be unbiased on this one. To have the pressure LeBron had coming out of high school to the NBA and to still perform year after year and do what he did, I'll give him the credit. He performed. He didn't fold underneath the pressure as a whole career. I'm not talking about certain points of his career. Obviously, we can dive into that. We've done that. But over his whole career to have now be 20 years in and still doing what he does, I can say that with the pressure and expectations coming out of high school, he did what he needed to do. Now, obviously, later on, putting those expectations of trying to be the GOAT, now I don't know if you met that. but you did meet the early on expectations of him being a good player, one of the all-time great players coming out of high school. He's done that.
I'll put a note on that. I'll bring that back up later.
You bring it back up.
That's a
I'll
whole.
I'll say that about LeBron. I'll say that. I know your feelings about LeBron, but I will give him that credit.
Oh man! All right, moving on. We're still in California with this. Let's stay. Let's go to the State.
Oh, we got another one.
What's let's stay with the Golden State Warriors. Rumors of Clay want to be traded. I don't think this is new. I've heard Clay wanted to be traded last season, the season before, and Draymond, and some of his antics and stuff, and along with if just for people, everybody keep up. If you've heard Steve Kerr and all of them speak in the press conference about each other and the team, and I'm even talking about when they ended too, right? Last year when they got kicked out the playoffs. If you've been keeping up from there, do you feel like the dynasty is about over for the Warriors?
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely on the back end of this core group of Clay, Curry, and Draymond. I mean, because how many seasons they got together? Like, I don't even know. They up there now, like what, 13, 14? I don't even know. I haven't even kept up. But I mean, they got a substantial amount in what Curry's 34?
34,
something like that.
34, 35.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So I mean, clearly he's on the back end of his career. Like he's got maybe a few more good years if he's able to obviously stay healthy. Maybe he can pull LeBron and he can play the 38, 40. But them dominating the way they did together, those three, that's done. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like they need other pieces around them as a team to continue to play at a high level and rely on some younger guys to bring that energy. I think obviously because Clay and Curry are shooters, they can continue to play at a high level in the NBA, obviously, and make shots. But I think the real issue is going to be, I think, what you're seeing now, Draymond. You know, can Draymond continue to hold it together and play at a high level defensively to keep them where they've been in the past? Or are you going to need to look at potentially, we talking about trades, you're going to look at to potentially need to trade him, get somebody else who can maybe fill that role because, the antics and everything else he's got going on, is that going to be too much of a distraction? All this stuff, I think, is starting to come up to the surface. And like you said, the dynasty is pretty much dead. They have to retool and look to, if they want to keep these three on the team, or at least Curry and Clay, I would keep those two, start to figure out a path forward for the future to build a new core group of guys that you can win with.
Their dynasty is over, unless they operate their offense differently. Right now,
but that's what I'm talking about. Retooling.
It's over. Then this is the reason why it's over.
What you got?
Let's start with defense, because you and I both value defense. I'm gonna start with defense. Both Draymond and Clay are not as great as on-ball defenders as they once were when they were winning ships.
Yeah.
Right. I exclude the last one because I didn't really think Clay was really playing any type of defense against Boston. I think Boston just failed at finals because they try to shoot against another team that can outshoot you. And I'm like, that ain't gonna work. No, well, there you go. That's why they lost the ball game. But anyways, those other finals though, and not even just the finals, the other playoffs, right? I'm talking about Clay. I used to witness Clay go play on-ball defense against James Harden and then run around and go drop 30 on his own. Mm-hmm. I think with all the injuries that he's had, the time off he has had, it has played a factor not only to his game defensively, but offensively. I cannot remember a night, now that I think about it, where he has gone off. And remember, at one point, it'll be Curry. Next week, it'd be Clay. They're pulling something off on ESPN where we're like, good Lord, like, how long has it been when he's done that 4 dribble and scored 44 points, 42, something like that? Something crazy.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Right? So that's the defensive side, a little bit included the offense. That's defense. Then let's get to
Mm-hmm.
Draymond. Draymond defensively, obviously, for the time, he is slowing down. But the biggest thing I have noticed, I just never really mentioned it to the world. Ever since they brought on KD, Draymond's jumper has never been the same. And now with KD even being gone,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in a starting role, you got to think about it like this, right? So who's your starting? Who's your starting five? It's Curry, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins, and Looney. So as they're saying on ESPN, as we're saying here on Unbiased Sports Talk, who is Curry's Robin that he can depend on dropping 20? And I would say no one
Mm-hmm.
at this point, because Clay's not the same, and definitely Draymond's not the same. And he's even more of a liability because of not only how he's playing defense and he's getting fouls, but the man's getting texts and getting ejected.
Yeah. Well, I would say Clay. So obviously he had a huge injury, was out for a couple seasons. This year, I think is the worst I've seen him. Because even when he returned from his injuries, like he was still putting up similar numbers. Like he was still playing fairly how we know Clay to play. But like I said, I think ultimately, like again, father time catches up with everybody. You can't. Everybody can't play at that high level for their entire career. They got to do something similar. I mean, hell, like Boston with
Dingus?
no. The big three, original big three: Paul Pierce, Ray, KG.
Yeah.
But you had someone like Rondo. You know what I'm saying? So as those guys were aging, you had that young guy who brought the energy, who played well, you know, was that next top tier guy outside of the original big three. So the Warriors need guys like that to really start to emerge for them to keep Clay and Curry around playing well. Because you're right, Clay's not going to carry you games anymore. We're not seeing that from him. Can he have nights where he's going to drop 30 or something? I'm sure he will. You know, he's going to have streaks, but he's a shooter, so he's going to be streaky. So that's always been Clay. But Curry obviously is still playing at a high level, so get someone else in there. I mean, they think they're trying to for Chris Paul to be that, but again, it's another old guy. He's only going to give you another year or two, and he might not even give you all this year. So that's not that Rondo. I need that Rondo. I need those other guys. Perk, you know what I'm saying? Perk was that younger guy with those guys. You need those other guys who are going to give you substantial minutes, role players that are going to play well, and they have a possibility to continue to win and stretch this thing out with Clay and Curry. Draymond, I don't know about Draymond. That's just a question mark.
I think now they're at the point now, and I think honestly, where NBA has a way of doing it, but football really, where it is a copycat league, right? I think we're getting back to the point where the big has got to be important. I think for the Warriors to get back, and I think it'll be easier for them. It's just the point is just like, man, what guy is out there and how long do the Warriors have? Where I can see their offense getting back to what it was if they play through a big. Because having a big makes the perimeter even easier.
That's always been the case. Even with those Warriors teams, they didn't play through their bigs, but here's what they did that big players do. They controlled the paint, they got rebounds, right? And they scored in the paint. So even though Curry and Clay were shooting those crazy threes, Curry still had a lot of points in the paint. People don't realize that. He was getting those layups and all that off those back screens and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So they still got points in the paint, high quality shots. A big guy, a traditional big, like not traditional, but a big you play through, like Joker, Embiid, and all those, they're getting easy baskets at points at the basket, making other plays for their teammates that obviously control the paint, get boards, but they're doing it directly through them. So the Golden State wasn't doing it directly through their guys, but their big guys were getting boards. They were playing defense at a high level, so they helped them control the paint when they were winning. So you're right. They need bigs. They don't necessarily have to have a Joker, but that
No.
would make it better for Curry and Clay could extend their careers if they can have a guy they could play through and rely on. That's what the Lakers want out of AD, but AD ain't giving them that. So that could extend LeBron's career and everybody else, make it easier on everybody. But again, AD's not playing that way like Embiid and Joker, that you can rely on him consistently game in and game out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, nailed it. And I think though, even though that's still a hard thing to ask for, just because of the time frame of this league, right? Because the league is still dependent on guys on the perimeter shooting threes, so bigs are still not as valued as they once were. Like what I mean by once were, I'm talking about guys like Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing. The list goes on and on. You know what I'm talking about? Like guys where like if I pass him into the post, he ain't really thinking about probably passing it back.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think there is they're placing a value. I think you're seeing the emergence of them placing value on height. So not necessarily big, because they want the height though, because these guys can obviously, they want their bigs to stretch the floor now. So which is why you're seeing guys like Wemby be able to, he's not big, like weight wise, but height. I mean, he changes the game for them. Same thing with Boston, right? With having someone like Porzingis on their team now, even though they lost that quote unquote defender and Williams, that he was only like 6'8", 6'9" at best. Now you got a 7'3" dude who put his hands up, is altering your shot. So he doesn't have to be that super energy guy that Williams was, but his height alone makes up for the defensive energy that Williams gave you. He can just put his hands up. And it changes the offense for the opposing team. So I like that the bigs are reemerging. I've always been a advocate for them because I think, again, controlling the paint, playing through your big man is what wins you games and makes easy shots for everybody else. But like you said, we got away from that with this perimeter play.
Yeah, because I think you could. Me personally, I think you can move off ball better off a big than a point guard. Personally.
Yeah. And you're seeing that with Joker and Embiid now. Now that they got Harden out of there, he's playing the same way now.
Hey, it's something about those Kentucky boys because Maxey being from Kentucky and Murray being from Kentucky, them boys know how to operate as a guard. All right, that was a good one-on-one edition.